Hey Fast Life fam, welcome back. And if you're new here, my name is Chelly and I talk about losing weight and getting healthy with alternate day fasting. And if you've been doing alternate day fasting and you feel like sometimes it's a struggle to stay consistent, maybe you've fallen off track, or maybe you're new to alternate day fasting, 36-hour water fasting every other day, and you're looking into it and you really want to get into it, but it just seems like impossible, then stay tuned. This video is for you because I'm going to give you some real actionable steps to stay consistent or get back on track if you're already doing ADF, or to get started if you're new to it. All right, you ready? Get your water and let's dive in. If you've fallen off of ADF, or maybe you've tried to get into it and you just couldn't stick with it, don't think of it as failure. That used to really get me the first couple times around. Like, I tried it, I gradually was able to work my way into alternate day fasting. But when you see falling off track as a failure, that's when it becomes something that you don't want to try again because you feel unsuccessful. Instead, look at falling off ADF or struggling to get started as a signal to yourself, a sign that maybe you need to adjust some things before you can stay consistent with it. Not only jump into some of the strategies you can use to stay more consistent, get back on track, and even get started with ADF. I think it's important to talk about why is it such a struggle sometimes for many of us, myself included. And a big one is unrealistic expectations could be a huge reason why you may be struggling with alternate day fasting. I know I did at first, just having this in my mind, this picture that I'm going to just do it cold turkey. I'm going to get started and I'm just going to do 3 days a week, 36 hours, who knows, maybe more, but, and just have it just stick and be perfect, and then just have the weight melt off. So health takes time. Getting healthy, losing weight takes time, regardless to what technique you do. And sure, now I have seen alternate day fasting is the thing that works. It has gotten consistent results for me and for many of you. But just starting off initially right out the door with unrealistic expectations was a big struggle, and it was a big reason why it took me so long to get into it, because I had tried multiple times, even starting with intermittent fasting, and sometimes sticking with those fasting windows was challenging because I had this mindset that I brought from not only my personal life and my work life, just this desire to do everything right, to be perfect, and not understanding that. And I don't want to call it failure, just, the trials and tribulations, I would call them, is part of the success. So just know that if you're trying to get into alternate day fasting, you don't have to do it all at once. You can try with gradually ramping up your fasting window. You can try intermittent fasting first. You can try so many other options until you're able to gradually increase your fasting window to be the 36 hours. Or you can even start with 1 or 2 or 3 days. So give yourself some grace, as I always say, because getting healthy, you're in it for the long haul. There's really no quick fix. Now, I will say ADF does lead to rapid weight loss in many people, especially when you're overhauling your diet, you're staying very consistent, you're staying mindful of what you're eating on your feast days, and then you're combining that with a little bit of activity. And even if you're just doing ADF and you're tracking, and again, be mindful of what you're putting in your body, and for the most part, eating the nourishing foods, not junk food and stuff, you're going to see results. But just understanding that you want to set realistic expectations. And I'm not saying that don't set the standards, because if your goal is to get in and you don't need any preparation and you're really, really committed, it could work. I'm sure there's those of you out there who have just jumped straight into ADF and it's been working, and that's awesome. But if you are not able to do that right away, there's no need to feel guilty. There's no need to feel like, all right, ADF's not for me, because even myself, I ramped up to it. And even some days when I'm around, temptations or family, sometimes it can be a struggle. But you just keep your why in mind, and health is wealth. And so I'm committed to pursuing that, and it makes ADF a lot more manageable for me. You don't have to feel pressured that you just have to be perfect. with ADF. And if you're already doing it and the struggle is staying consistent, then maybe it's time to step back and adjust if some things need to change. You know, what times are you eating? What are you eating? You know, how many days a week are you fasting? It's okay. Our body speaks to us. And sometimes when we are struggling with things, we have to see, okay, is this working? And what things do I need to change in order to make it more manageable for myself? And it's not you quitting or feeling like, you know, shame because you can't do it, or maybe you had a busy time in your life and you needed to step back, and maybe your eating pattern changed for a little while. Maybe you have a lot of stressors. It's okay. I know myself personally on my feast days, and I've been noticing like, okay, I'm eating a little bit more. So I have to sometimes look back like, why did I eat that much today? But you know, it happens because especially, you know, when you have a busy life, you're a parent, you're working, you're commuting, you're doing all these things, life can get stressful. And so rather than seeing it as a fail, I'll step back and I'll say, all right, well, what was different this day? And then I can see, all right, well, how can I change this so that I can not go over my calorie allotment, or maybe hit my macronutrients. Maybe I didn't do as much as I wanted to do today, and then I'll get back on it the next fasting day. But it happens. No one's perfect. So just know that just because you're not perfect doesn't mean you have to quit. It just means that maybe you need to reassess and make a better plan moving forward. Emotional eating is another reason why many of us struggle to stay consistent with ADF. And I know that can be super hard. I mean, at some point, we're all going to face an emotional trigger or some circumstance that makes us feel stressed out. And I know personally, when I was stressed, I would eat a lot. I would order out on DoorDash. I'd, eat the crackers and the cookies in the pantry. So I've been there, and every day it's still, while it's not so much of a struggle, it's still a conscious decision that I have to make. I have to say, okay, I had a very busy work day. I'm feeling stressed. What do I need to do? So I'll take myself outside. I'll go walk the dogs. I'll come into my room, and I have 2 children. So, they always need something, even though they're teenagers. So there's always a demand. But now I say, okay, nope. It's my time right now. Even if it's 10, 15 minutes, when I'm done with my work, I need to decompress, because I know that if I don't, those old habits die hard, as they say. So knowing certain things that trigger me emotionally to want to eat, that increase my stress levels, I have learned to better identify those. And so that's a huge reason why many of us may struggle to stay consistent with ADF. Maybe we're eating out of stress. Maybe we're eating out of boredom. Any number of things. If you have feelings of sadness or whatever you're going through in your life, you just have to be able to identify those things and then come up with a plan for yourself, come up with an alternative that you can do. So if I feel myself getting tempted, I'll go walk outside. I'll walk the dogs. I'll come into my room, and sometimes I still watch Netflix. Whatever it is, I like to read my Kindle a lot. So I take time for myself. I love taking warm baths. So whatever it is, maybe you like walking on trails like I do. That gets me out in nature whenever I can. And I had to step back recently and assess as well, like why I was eating a little bit more, because my body, it tells me, it's like, you're eating too much, and too much salt, my face will start swelling. So even now that I'm still doing ADF, when I have those stressful days, I have to just pause for a moment and really try to take myself out of the situation and see, okay, what do I need to do now so that my hunger is not so crazy? Am I eating too much of the wrong types of foods that are making me have these hunger cravings? And then just readjust. So that's a big one. But if you are struggling with that, I like journaling, because it helps me identify those things. Even if it's not, you don't have to buy a fancy journal. It could just be some things that you write down. How are you feeling? How's your appetite? How did you sleep? Just those little things. What's making you most concerned or stressed in the moment? And then you can identify that, and then you can start making a plan for yourself to see, okay, what am I going to do when those triggers are in front of me. What I personally do, I remove all those trigger foods. I know that my crutch was all the crackers, the cookies, so I don't buy it in my house anymore. And if I am getting something for the kids, it's out of sight, out of mind. They have it in their own room because it's their snacks, or we keep it in the pantry or the top shelf of the cabinet. So it's not in my face. It's not the first thing that I'm seeing when I'm hungry or I'm feeling like, oh, I want to eat this. So I just remove it, and that could be another option. Just get the trigger away from you, so that you're not tempted when you're in those vulnerable moments, those stressful moments that you are more prone to emotionally eat. Another thing, if you know that you struggle in certain environments, then you may need to remove yourself from them. And for me personally, I used to go to my family's house a lot on the weekend, and we'd sit around, we'd eat, and there was good food, but it was not helping me. And so now I invite family on walks with me. They don't always come, but I'm just not interested in spending hours sitting and eating. And I know it may be hard at first. You may feel uncomfortable setting those boundaries, especially with family, with friends, but ultimately you are in charge of your health. And if you're serious about getting healthy, then it's up to you to set that tone for yourself. And it's okay to say no to some things. If you know that certain situations, being around certain people, certain foods, certain environments, whatever it is, they're not helpful for you, then it's really up to you to prioritize yourself. Say no sometimes if you know it's not bringing you closer to your goal, and then move forward in that way. And I believe it has been my experience that your family, your friends, those who are really for you, who are happy to see you thriving and healthy at a healthy weight and not sickly and living life to the fullest, those people that are truly for you, ultimately they're going to be supportive of your goals. Now, that doesn't mean that they have to be converted to healthism and all the things that you are doing. But over time, as you keep showing up for yourself, you set those boundaries, you're serious about your weight loss and your health goals, you have that conviction, other people around you can see that. And when they're for you, they're going to support you on that journey. So you kindly saying, I can't have that right now. Over time, they will come to learn that that's just who you are. You don't indulge in those kinds of things, and it's not going to be a personal offense to them, and they will support you in that, if not join you in your health journey. But either way, to get control of the emotional eating, ultimately, you have to get those systems and plans for yourself, and be okay with setting those boundaries so that you can structure your life, your environment, everything around you, getting control of that. And I think it's an important, thing to acknowledge that sometimes you just want what you want. Like if you want that chocolate bar or something. So if I'm having chocolate, I didn't used to like dark chocolate actually, but now if I really do have that dark chocolate craving of mine, I will have that. It'll be like a 70 or 80% chocolate bar. And there's so many alternatives. One brand I like is Lily's. There's Choc Zero. So you don't have to have those sugary things. There's usually an alternative that will satisfy that craving. And if you must, then you can make a plan for yourself. All right, I am going to enjoy this, whatever it is. Maybe it is one of your comfort food favorites, but do you really have to eat, the whole thing or 2 and 3 servings? And so that's something that you can also do to adjust so that you don't feel so deprived. So you get your cravings and your needs met, but you don't have those foods in excess. And another big one that goes hand in hand is planning. We kind of touched on it before. So set yourself up for success. I know when I was starting off with ADF, it was rough, but the more you do it, it becomes more manageable. You get those systems in place for yourself. And a big one is planning, whether that's meal prep or just having foods ready to go. I know a big one for me that I didn't used to like, leftovers. I liked fresh food. I liked ordering DoorDash. I liked eating out, steaming hot, delicious, tasty, greasy, well-seasoned food. The list goes on. So I was not a big prepper before, but now I have leftovers. And even if they're not portioned out and ready to go, I have some food in the fridge so that on my feast days, I'm not scrounging around the kitchen, going through the cabinets and the pantry, putting any and everything in my mouth because I'm starving. I have those those foods ready for me. So get that plan in order so that when you break your fast, you don't feel compelled to go out and indulge in the things that are not good for you. So once you start making your life, your environment around that and planning ahead so that you know what you're going to have. Get your water bottle. I have my big 120 ounce water bottle. So just even simple things like that I'll put my apple cider vinegar in and my electrolytes. I have them ready for me so that I'm just setting myself up for success to hydrate throughout the day. That helps with hunger. A lot of times we think we're hungry and it could be that you are actually thirsty. So just get your environment around your goals, set that up so that you can succeed at alternate day fasting. And just know that, if you fall off ADF, it's not a failure. To me, I honestly consider it to be feedback. It's telling you that maybe there are some things that you need to change. You don't need to quit. You don't need to feel like you're not doing everything right, because it's not about perfection. I'm not perfect, but you have a system and a plan to get back on track when that does happen. Another one that gets a lot of us is the mindset of you have to do it all and do it all perfectly. And I've had feast days where I maybe have more calories. I think one day I had like 2,100 calories. And for me, my body type, my goals, and the weight loss that I'm looking for, I know that that's a lot for me, even with alternate day fasting. And it may not be for you. We all have different calorie goals, macro goals. One day I didn't hit, my protein intake and I felt a little hungry. One day I had too many carbs, so my body will start to pick up those hunger cravings. It wasn't perfect, but I don't quit. I just reassess. I step back and I say, all right, how am I feeling today? Did I do something that either worked for me or didn't work for me? And then the next fast, I try to correct for it. And that's all that we can really do at the end of the day. You do your best, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're making progress, I consider each fast day a success, because then the next day you kind of have like the data, if you will, on what you can do differently next time. And that's really what it's about. You get a little bit better each time, and it gets a little bit easier. And if you're new to alternate day fasting, you're just jumping in, going straight to 36-hour fast windows can be challenging. And so there's nothing wrong with ramping yourself up, starting with the intermittent fasting, OMAD, 2MAD, 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, 24-hour fasting first with just water, and then scaling up over time to the 36-hour fast. So just know that you have options so that you can make it not so punishing for yourself and increase your chances of sticking with it. And if you've fallen off track, no biggie. You can also use the same approach to gradually ramp back up and get back on to your path with alternate day fasting. And some other actionable things that you can do right now to get yourself back on track and stay more consistent is start linking some of those new fasting habits with things that you already do. For instance, I brush my teeth at night. So I know after I brush my teeth, my habit is to fill up my water bottle right after that. That's like the indicator for me to get my water bottle ready so that when I am waking up in the morning, that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to get some water. And that's something that will help you stay more consistent because you don't have to guess and work too hard at it. It's already ready for you. Another thing will be setting up my workout clothes at night. I do that after brushing my teeth. I get my water and then I set out my pants, my shirt, my shoes, my socks, my jacket, because I want to be ready to get up, put on my clothes, and either do my home workout or head straight out the door to take a couple laps around the block with the dogs. I know that if I don't do those things, I'm less likely, because then it becomes so stressful. Then I may not drink enough water because my water bottle is not filled up, so then I'm using a smaller cup, and then it turns out that I don't ever get to filling up my water bottle, and so I'm not drinking the water that I need for the day. And then if I don't have my clothes laid out and I get up early, it's still dark outside, and I'm like, I'm tired, I'm going back to sleep. Or maybe I won't go out because now I have to hunt through my drawers and I don't want to be loud and wake everybody everyone up. So I don't have things ready, and it's just more likely that I'll skip it that day. So start linking those newer habits to the old ones that you have so that you can create what we call habit stacking and make that system for yourself that's going to help you get back on track and stay more consistent. So if you have friends and family that you trust, connect with them, reach out to them, and they know that you're fasting and you know that you're going to have their support. Share your struggle, or if it's just connecting on here, on our community, on our Facebook, you find those people that are like-minded, that are going to keep you motivated, accountable, and are also going through the same journey as you. Even though we all experience it in our own ways, find those people, find your tribe, so that you feel like you're supported, you're not so alone, because I know that alternate day fasting can be challenging. But there are others out there who are doing it, succeeding, and you just have to connect with those people and celebrate your wins with, even if, you have your immediate family who they see you feeling better, looking better, and they want to understand, like, what are you doing? And celebrate your wins. And on the topic of wins, every win is worth celebrating, whether that's a few pounds or more, or a couple of inches and your clothes are fitting looser. It's okay to celebrate those things because it keeps you motivated. And I personally do that. And it makes me feel like I'm consistently making progress. And if it helps you, sometimes you can have your goals visual. So if you have something that you can put up, whether it's a calendar with your fasting and your feast days, whether it's any kind of fasting tracker, mood tracker, those things that you can do along with alternate day fasting, that you just have a visual cue that you put on your refrigerator or your bedroom or office wall that you can see. So any little system that you have in place that's going to help you stay more consistent helps. And another big one is track your progress, so that you can see the small and big wins that you're making. Sometimes when you're in it and you're doing it, you don't realize that, wow, you're actually making big strides. But then when you look back, whether you're tracking it on a calendar or an app or a paper tracker, going through your mood, how much water, your sleep, your inches, your weight, when you can look back at those things and compare where you started at, you actually start to realize, like, wow, I'm doing great. So it's okay to do those things. Celebrate your wins, track your progress, and go from there. And I know sometimes it may be tempting to overcompensate. I know in the beginning with alternate day fasting, when I would start a fast day and then I gave in halfway, or like I thought, okay, I'm gonna eat 500 calories, and then that turned into a whole meal. So then I thought, okay, I'm gonna do 48 hours fasting. And 48 hours is doable once you ramp up, of course, and people are doing even longer fasts. But when you're doing alternate day fasting and you're just starting off, or you're getting back on track and you're trying to develop a more consistent approach for yourself, you don't have to overcompensate. If you eat something that maybe you shouldn't have, you didn't do what you wanted to, pick back up on the next fast day. There's no need to, from my own personal experience, overcompensate, because then that leads to you throwing off your fasting schedule, and then it leads to a cycle of fasting and then binge feasting and then doubling up on your fasting. So 2 days here and then no day there. And so it can just be a slippery slope. So personal experience, consistency is what really makes the biggest impact. So hopefully you found today's video helpful and you're able to take away at least one actionable step that you can start doing right now to either get started with alternate day fasting, stay more consistent, or get back on track. And if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to join our Fast Life community, and comment down below. I love to hear from you. I always try to respond to as many as possible, and drop your questions, share your stories. Where are you in your ADF journey? If you want to connect with other like-minded ADFers, check out the links in the description box to join our private Facebook group, as well as sign up for the free weekly email newsletter. All right, well, until next time, fasting fam, I will see you. Bye.